As voter registration continues across the country, civilians as well as security officers are still queuing to get their voters' card for the upcoming election. In getting his voters' card at the Makati Square in Banjul, the Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces, Major General Drammeh, told iAfrica TV that the country's armed forces is not an exception, as they equally have the right to partake in the election. Amindo again reports.
Elections have been the usual mechanism by which modern representative democracy has operated since the 17th century. It is a formal group decision-making process by which a population chooses an individual or multiple individuals to hold a public office. In the Gambia, elections of both presidential and parliamentary are held every 5 years. Currently, people all over the country are registering to get a voter's card in order to vote in the December 2021 presidential election. However, some have the notion that election is meant for only civilians, characterizing officers as neutral individuals whose primary job is to secure the country and its people. Contrary to this belief, the Chief of Defense Staff Drammeh said voting is an inherent right of every citizen.
Voting is an inherent right by every well-meaning Gambians. Let me say Gambians. Once you qualified, meeting the prescribed set rules and procedures, definitely you are qualified to have a voter's card. By having a voter card, it denotes you equally have the right to cast a vote for any party of your choice.
He added that the armed force is not an exception, as they have the equal rights as those of the civilians in deciding who to lead them.
Serving members of the armed force is not an exception. They're just average citizens, like any other Gambian citizen. So they're equally entitled to a voter's card, if I may put it this way. And it denotes equally, once the time is ripe, they can go out and cast their vote. That's the inherent right as Gambians.
In the Gambia, elections are conducted using marbles instead of the traditional paper ballots. Each party or candidate competing in the election has a drum painted with its own identifying colors and their party symbol or photograph. The voters, after being issued a marble, proceed to the polling booth to vote. And for a vote to be valid, it must be dropped in a hole of a sealed drum that corresponds to that particular voter's favor candidate. Reporting for iAfrica News, Amindo.